Today, we're going to talk about my absolute favorite zombie movie. It's Robert Rodriguez's Planet Terror next on Drew Reviews. So, guys, you know how you watch a movie and it takes it a little while for it to grow on you? Planet Terror, to me, was not that movie. I loved this movie from the first time I saw it, probably in 2008, about a year after it came out. Robert Rodriguez, to me, is a fine director. And if you'd stay away from kids stuff like the Spy Kids junk and stick to the serious stuff, although it's hard to call a Grindhouse movie serious. This movie was part of a double feature, of course, that came out with Quentin Tarantino's Death Proof, kind of like how in the 70s they do a Grindhouse double feature. I really like this. I can tell you straight away, I love the fact that it's an homage to those style movies, with the scratches and the cigarette burns. Really like that attention to detail. This is my favorite of those kind of movies. Death Proof is okay. Hobo with the Shotgun, there's some scenes in that movie I like, but this is tops for me as far as those retro style movies. Machete's probably pretty close, but the basic plot of this movie is you got Bruce Willis and his troops coming in and they're trying to buy this gas because they've actually caught, this flesh-eating zombie disease, and they have to give themselves this gas that he's created to keep themselves from expiring, as zombies. And of course, it all goes to hell, and this gets unleashed on the town. We're introduced to, characters like Ray, who's just awesome. You've got Sheriff Haig, played by the great Michael Biehn. He's Kyle Reese in my favorite movie of all time. So it was great to see him in this role. And of course, you got Rose McGowan, and she plays Cherry, this go-go dancer, and I like her boss. I think he was like Robert Rodriguez's doctor or neighbor or something. And it's go-go, not cry. I like that scene. And it's basically them just trying to survive this zombie outbreak. And I'm kind of surprised with all the nasty gore in this movie, it didn't get an X rating. Where they got those bites or heads are blowing up, or that one guy rubs blood, pus all over Josh Brolin's face. It's disgusting. But I love that it's unashamedly a splatter movie. And, Robert Rodriguez just embraced that from the get-go. He told everybody back in the 90s that he thought that the zombie thing was going to become huge again. And he was right. Just a few years before this, you had Dawn of the Dead, Shaun of the Dead, and 28 Days Later. The Walking Dead would come many years later. But they were all just a little bit ahead of the curve as far as that goes. But one thing I love about this movie, for the most part, are the personal relationships. In a zombie movie, you have to care about the people that you want to see live. And so, of course, you've got the two brothers, played by Jeff Fahey and Michael Biehn. And they have my favorite scene in the movie, where Biehn, who plays the sheriff, wants his brother's barbecue recipe. No chance in hell. I'm not giving you that. Just great stuff. Even as they're dying there at the end, he starts to give him that recipe and they die. That's really good. I like the dynamic between El Rey and Cherry, how they have this past. And to me, they share the best scene in the movie. She's lost her leg, due to this zombie bite. And so in the hospital, they've got this metal apparatus sticking out. He's taken a table leg and stuck it on the end of her leg so she can walk. And clink, clink as she walks. And so they have this gratuitous sex scene where she wraps her leg and her table leg around his back. And it's getting hot and heavy, when the reel actually burns up. We've had cigarette burns and scratches, and reel missing. I love this scene. It's completely gone. And when the tape is spliced back together, the zombies have come to the bone shack that Jeff Fahey owns, and it's all broken loose. And people are dying and getting bit. I love how it went from this intimate moment to just complete chaos and anarchy. And as far as that goes with chaos, when they get to that hospital before that scene, and you got Tom Savini, he's shooting people and actually shooting innocent people. Michael Biehn just shaking his head as the sheriff. That's really funny. I like the scene where they're trying to escape the Bone Shack. They get on El Rey's truck, and he's on that mini bike with his knees up around his ears. and Rusty, the chef's dog, jumps off and gets hit by the truck. He's like, "Dad, damn it!" It just that was a really funny scene. It made me laugh so hard the first time I saw it. There's some pretty good cameos in this. As I said, Bruce Willis plays the general. He's not given a whole lot to do, but Quentin Tarantino, given that he was part of this double feature, I'm not the biggest Quentin Tarantino as an actor fan. He does a workman's job, I guess, but he was so over the top and unlikable in this role. Where I ain't never seen me a one-legged stripper, and that whole scene. Just I thought that was pretty good and funny, even though he was a despicable character. But the atmosphere is great. I think the zombies look really good. Everything's shot really dark. And I love the fact that whenever something bad's about to happen, the screen really starts pulsing and changing colors. It's about to go down. As far as things I didn't care for as much, the whole subplot with Josh Brolin and his wife, she's having an affair on him. I didn't care for those characters. You look at him and he's kind of a crap husband. He's supposed to be, but she doesn't give you any real reason to like her other than trying to escape, his abuse. And of course she's cheating on him. So, she doesn't have much redemption there either. There's that one scene where she goes to her dad's house and she gives her 6-year-old son a gun. It says if anybody comes, close to the car, shoot him. And of course, what do you think's going to happen in that scene? And that scene was just so nihilistic when the kid shoots himself. It was like, kind of took me out of the movie just for a minute. I really don't care for those 3 characters at all. And also the babysitters, who I think were Rodriguez's nieces or neighbors or something. He puts people he knows in all these movies. I just really didn't care for their characters at all. They looked really good, but there weren't any redeeming qualities about them. But that's about it as far as things I didn't like about this movie. I like the music, the 70s theme that goes through. So very Pulp Fiction-y sounding. I like the cinematography and the atmosphere. But the scene to watch for this movie is when El Rey tells Cherry, "I've made something for you." And he gets her, the assault rifle that he puts on her leg. And she's standing on one leg and just shooting zombies down left and right. That was so good. And, of course, she shoots and goes up over the wall and shooting people on her way down. That's just a riotous, terrible B-movie time right there. And I don't know how you could see that. Some people who, don't appreciate this would be shaking their head at that scene. But if you're coming to Drew Reviews and you like these movies, I don't know how you could not like the scene, with Cherry with the assault rifle on her leg. As a final score, I'm going to rate Planet Terror a 7.7 out of 10. This movie's a lot of fun, other than the hospital stuff with those characters I don't like, and a little bit of the general stuff. You got that one biochemist who keeps a jar full of balls just so he can fall face first on him in that one scene. And I did think that was funny that happened in a Grindhouse film, because things like that would happen in old Grindhouse films. But 7.7, it's a fun time as long as you're not in it to take it too seriously. You're not going to watch Planet Terror expecting Citizen Kane. So if you are, you're got the wrong expectations there. But this movie, as I've been saying, is so much fun. And as far as 2007 goes, when I do that ranking of that year, it's going to be right near the top. There's another horror style movie that's probably going to be fighting with for tops of 2007. But I'm going to do that review here in a couple of months. We'll see what happens. So guys, as always, thanks for watching this review. And let me know down in the comments if you'd like to see more Grindhouse style movies covered on Drew Reviews. I love them. I think they're great for the lowbrow entertainment that they are. And I thought Robert Rodriguez did a great job directing this movie, as did most everybody in the film. But if you like what you see, guys, be sure to like and subscribe. And as always, I'm Andrew, and I'll see you down the line.